Hello, my name is Graham Lang, and this is my presentation for Computer Science 610, Selected Topics in Software Engineering at Athabasca University, and this presentation is my submission for tutor marked assignment number 1. The topic of this presentation is software design and architecture, the once and future focus of software engineering. The presentation is based on a paper that was written by Richard Taylor and Andre van der Hoek. This paper was presented at the FOSS conference and exhibition in 2007. So why is design important? The authors noted that design is really at the core of software engineering. It has a great importance in maintaining control over complexity, and as our ability to produce more complex software systems, we need to be able to maintain that control, and we can do that through improved design. Design is also a differentiator in an organization's success. Those companies that had improved design processes could enable innovation. And also, design can reduce your risk. If you have a good understanding of what outcomes you want, through design, you can ensure that you will deliver what you intend to. Motivations for the paper. The authors wanted to describe where design has been successful, and then also look into the future and describe where design is going to lead us. So the author started with the historical perspective, and they described some prescriptive design methods, and really the concept of design in the software industry has only been around for about 60 years. And early on, some of these prescriptive design methods are also a top-down approach to design was used. One of the other things that became part of software design was notations, or having this common language. An example of this is UML. And also the wisdom of experience. Design patterns and so forth have improved design over the last 60 years. The concept also of interface design versus a technical design. You can have a great technical design, but if its usability is impeded somehow, you may end up with a failed product. And also the design outside of software. They looked at some of the other fields that are more mature, and what we can learn in terms of design process and products from those fields. And they also had a look at the benefits of group design, how the community of designers can improve design. So some of the recent developments within design, one of those being agile methodology. The authors argued that this was a bit of a step back in terms of design research. And what they meant by that was that there's not a lot of design artifacts that are available when you use an agile methodology, as the resultant product is the design. However, they did say that one of the benefits of agile methodology was the concept of participatory design, so increasing the design community to include the end users. And one of the other benefits of agile is test-driven development. So the functionality, or the resultant function, is just as important as having a good design. One of the things that they noted about agile methodology was that design continues throughout the development cycle. So, not like a very prescriptive design process or a top-down methodology. The design grows throughout the life cycle of the development and the product. And really that's not shared with very many other fields, engineering fields, outside of computer science or software engineering. One of the other recent developments is aspect-oriented design, where a product is split into components for design. And this allows the separation of concerns, and it simplifies the complexity of a design. So you can focus on a smaller module and ensure that it is well designed and well developed, and then that allows a simplification of it. It simplifies the design. So regardless of what methodology or what some of the recent methodologies are, all of them do include design. So some of the other recent developments, as an example, were design analysis, where through improved design analysis you can reduce your risk. In component-based design, it's much easier to design large complex systems if you take that complexity and break it up into smaller parts. However, when you do that, it introduces complexity into the integration, as these different components need to communicate with one another and share information. And some of the other recent developments in design are along the lines of software architecture. And software architecture really provides a much higher level design and principles to follow in terms of design, and it really is the underlying basis for software design. So in the paper they describe design success as being measured by using a general model made up of two parts. So the first part is the design of the product, and that includes the artifacts that describe the design, the product itself. The design is the result of the decisions that have been made, how the customer provides constraints into the design and how that affects the resultant design, and the available materials that are available to construct the design. And the second part is the process of design. So the manipulation of information that leads to the design product. And that information can be grouped into the goals, the ideas, the knowledge, and the representations. And each of those categories of information has its own language, and that language needs to be common so that it can be shared and communicated throughout the design community. The interesting part about this model was that it's not restricted to software development. So this model for design that the authors propose could be used in other fields, other engineering fields. So the results of their research were that the design model describes how better to support designers. And you can do that in a number of different ways. You can improve the materials that are available for the designers. You can improve the languages used during design. You can improve the knowledge of the designers in the design community. If they have a better understanding of success and failure, they increase the chance of having a good design and a good product. And you can improve the design process activities. And then also improving the design tools results in a better design. So all progress, independent of methodology, can really be improved by these underlying categories. The community of designers. All stakeholders make up this community, so the users, the designers, the developers, anyone who has a stakeholder in the final product. Now, however you increase the community, what this also does is it increases demands on the design. You have to have better communication among the stakeholders, and you have to have a common language that you can use in order to communicate. And you have to accommodate that stakeholder's contribution and filter it where appropriate. So the greatest challenge is supporting these multiple viewpoints. So the research directions and where the authors were hoping to progress towards was our ability to design improves, our conception of what can be achieved increases. Architecture has helped push design research forward. It has a focus on early design decisions, and our ability to learn from others is much easier now. We have the internet available to search for how to design a product or help us make some of the design decisions that we are faced with. And hardware improvements have reduced some of the constraints and also speed up the design process in terms of improving some of the tools that are available for us when we design. So what is the future direction of design? Because it is a fairly new field for software development and software engineering, the authors outlined a number of things that we must achieve in order to mature. They indicated that there needs to be a more fluid integration of design with development. We need the ability to represent the multiple interests of stakeholders and ensure that they are considered in the design. And we need to be able to coordinate with organizational change. What they meant by this was that there is a change management aspect to design. Sometimes we implement something that has an impact on the people who use it. Sometimes the organization has to change in order to use that new design. And we must have more of a focus on the interface design. So rather than focusing on the technical side of things, understand usability and how we can improve that usability. And in order to improve our design in the future, our design process, we must learn from our past. So not like other fields, the descriptions of failed projects are not readily available for failures within software projects. And one of the other things that we need to do is we must promote and reward good design. Some other design fields have awards for good design. And we also must understand good and bad design practices and focus on the good. And one of the other things that we can do in the future to improve our understanding of design is to look outside of computer science. Really, it's only been design has been practiced within computer science for roughly 60 years. But when you look at building architecture, civil engineering, really that's been practiced for centuries. So what are some of the barriers to progress? Well, the number one thing that the authors outlined was that design is undervalued today in the software industry. A lot of the design tools are immature, And if we can't improve some of those design tools, then it's going to make us difficult to succeed in improving design and innovating. And there isn't really any formal training. So they indicated and they touched on this idea of moving from a computer science field into more of an engineering practice where design has more value. So in conclusion, software design will remain an intellectual challenge. The authors indicated that as we overcome a set of challenges, new ones always emerge. And so the field is really for those who love a challenge. The need to approach software design, we really need to consider it like in other fields. We need to focus on the experience. And the example they gave was the design of an automobile. Really, the marketers and the sellers of that automobile focus on the driving experience. They don't focus on the technical aspects of the design so much. So, in conclusion, the authors expressed that software design is a maturing field, and that, like architecture, they have a long future ahead of it. So thank you for listening, and please participate. I look forward to your questions in the TMA1 forum.